Another fetching about fetching data from API is a little bit more up to date. This is what we're using every day. And here you have a question, write an example of fetching data using Fetch API. And Fetch API is a modern way to load some data from API. And actually here I didn't remove XML HTTP request, so you can compare code that we wrote like 10 years ago and now. So here we can use fetch function and we just provide there an input, and get is the method inside fetch by default, which means here we must provide just a URL. The most important part is that fetch gives us back a promise, and this means that we can use here then and catch to get some results. So here we got our response, but normally we want to convert our response to JSON. In this case we can easily use this data in client. This is why here we want to call res.json, which is an asynchronous function, and it will transform our response to JSON. And after this we can call then again, and here we will get our data. And now inside we can work with this data, for example console log, success, and here is our data. And as you can see, this code is much smaller and easier to read than this old code with XML HTTP request. And obviously here we also wrote an error, and we also want to handle it here. This is why here we can write .catch, and here we will get our error, and now here we can write console log error, and this will be triggered when we have an error. Let's check now if this code is working. I'm reloading the page in the browser, and as you can see we're getting success, and here are our response. And as you can see inside network we have our repos request, and the type is fetch, and here is our response. Which actually means this code is working exactly the same, but it is based on promises, which means we can easily mix this code with any other asynchronous operations which are based on promises. For example, if you have 2 or 3 sources. For example, if you have several sources of data, you can easily combine them together because they are all based on promises.